Our world is made up of living and non-living things, and it's important to know the difference between the two. There are certain things that living organisms require that non-living things don't, and these can help us classify them. All living things require food to make energy. Humans get their food and energy from plants and animals, and plants get their food and energy from a combination of sunlight, water, and nutrients from the soil. Living things also need oxygen to survive and have a life cycle of birth, growth, and then death. In living things, there are special structures that allow them to transport the required food and oxygen that allow them to grow and survive. In this film, Ashley from the Science Skills Academy will show you a method for seeing some of these details of these structures more clearly.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashley and today we're going to be doing an activity to see if we can tell the difference between living organisms and non-living items. To start with, we're going to go through what you will need to do this activity. So you will need a pen and a pencil or a couple of marker pens, whatever you prefer. A few sheets of paper, plain paper. You can use any colour you have, I'm just going to use white for the moment. I want you to go around your house and your garden and pick a variety of items, roughly 10, and they have to be a mixture of living and non-living items. So I just have a few items here for examples, but I'm sure you'll find more. I have a leaf, a twig, and a raspberry, and I also have a plastic toy, a stone, and a metal key. For the second part of the activity, we're going to paint the structure of a leaf so we can make a poster to study it. For this activity, you'll need some paint, any colour that you have will do, a paintbrush, and a dish to pour your paint onto to paint the leaf. So we are going to get started on the first part of our activity, and that is going to be classifying, which means sort out the items we've gathered from around the home and garden and to decide if they are living or non-living items. So I want you to take one sheet of paper and on that take a marker pen and draw a large circle, and I want you to label this circle living. So I am just going to write living above the circle I've just drawn. Next, I want you to take another sheet of paper and again draw a large circle, and above this one we're going to call it non-living. So I'm just writing non-living above the circle I have just drawn. So now we have our two posters. We're going to have to take the items we've gathered and decide which circle they belong in. So I only have a few examples of some items here. I'm sure you will have much more than this, but this is just to give you a wee bit of help to get started. So we're going to start with a leaf. I found this leaf in the garden. It's come from a tree, and living organisms need a lot of conditions to be alive, such as sunlight, water, and nutrients. This leaf needs all of those items, and it is therefore a living organism. So I'm going to pop that in my living circle. Next, I have a metal key. It doesn't require anything to stay the way it is. It was manufactured in a factory and is therefore non-living. So I'm going to put this in my non-living circle. Next up, I have a little bit of fruit. That is also from a plant and it requires nutrients and water and sunlight to stay alive. It is a living organism and I'm going to pop that in my living circle. Next, I have a stone. Again, it doesn't require anything to stay the way it is. It is non-living and it belongs in my non-living circle. Next, I have a little plastic toy. Again, this was manufactured in a factory. It will always stay the way it is and it doesn't require anything to continue being a little plastic toy. Therefore, it's non-living and I'm going to pop that in my non-living circle. And finally, I have a twig, which again came from a tree, which is a living growing organism from the garden. And I'm going to pop that in my living category. You can either place your items in or stick them down to keep them there permanently. It's completely up to you. When we were classifying our items, we briefly spoke about the difference between living and non-living items. So now, this part of the activity, we're going to look a bit closer at one of our living organisms and see if we can see the special structures that keep that item alive and well. Much like humans, all plants, trees and living organisms need special structures within them to transport water and nutrients around them to keep them healthy. So we're going to take one of our leaves and I want you to flip it upside down, and you'll see on one side it's very bumpy and there's lots of veins and structures that you can see. These are the structures that transport the water and nutrients around the plant into every part of the leaf to keep it healthy. Some small details can be hard to see, so now we're going to take some paint and we're going to make a lovely picture and see if we can see the structure a bit clearer. So I want you to keep your leaf with the bumpy side up, place it on a scrap bit of paper because this bit gets a wee bit messy. Pour some paint out onto your dish. And then I want you to take a paintbrush and apply a thin layer onto the bumpy side of the leaf. It can get a wee bit messy, so that's why we're using a bit of scrap paper to save you getting any extra paint on your surfaces. So we're just going to make sure the whole leaf is covered and getting all the dents and in amongst all the veins. There we go. And I want you to take your leaf and place the painted side down onto a clean piece of paper, nice and gently. Then use your finger and push every part of the leaf down so it makes contact with the paper. Then we're going to gently peel the leaf off of the paper, and you'll see you now have a lovely print of the leaf, and you can see all the individual veins, cells and structures within that. So we can continue to do this. Again, apply a fresh layer of paint onto our leaf. Make sure all the area is covered. Then place the painted side down onto our piece of paper and push down with our fingers quite firmly all the way around the leaf. And then we're going to gently peel the leaf off. And again, we have another lovely print. You can continue doing this with the same leaf and fill the whole piece of paper so you have a lovely leaf print poster, or you can try different shapes of leaves that you might find in the garden and see if you notice any difference in the structure. So this one I'm just going to put a small layer of paint on this new leaf. Again, painted side down. Press all the way around the leaf with your finger and gently peel off. And we can see this leaf is very different structurally to the one we've just used. So continue with all the leaves that you want and fill the whole page to make a lovely leaf print poster. You can use different colours of paint as well to make it more colourful if you choose.
Once again, your task for today is to classify objects as either living or non-living. Then you should make painted prints to examine the structures in plants that allow them to feed and breathe. If you'd like to send us a picture of your prints, please ask your parents to email newton.rooms@hient.co.uk. Or alternatively, you can post the picture on Facebook or Twitter and tag @SSA STEM.